the chop was real, man. And then Damone and then walked through our stretching line. That was what was so disrespectful.
Oh,
like,
we laugh,
our coaches, no, don't. No, we want to get up and do what we do. Nah, I said, yo, they real, man. They walk right through our stretch, man.
Penn Hills. We live.
I think we live.
We live.
Oh, I done started the conversation and we live. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. If you out there and you hear this, you feel certain ways about it, it do something to you. You either love it, which our two guests, they love this sound. It used to just be all over the valley. When I was playing back in the day, they was number one in the nation.
There
was thousands of fans at that stadium. I'm not even going to shout his name out right now. But our two guests, listen, Mark.
All you do is shake your head, man. Legendary, man. Two legends, man.
Listen, it's Thursday. It's 8 p.m. It's Thursday. We gave them a little snippet of the fight song that listen, I ain't gonna lie. And one of our guests will probably be able to clear it up a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But I remember another legend, Dwayne Thompson, having a video of a young lady who was the reporter, and they did a special on Penn Hills, and now she's all blown up and everything else. But I just remember they panned the camera on their fans and that chant, and that was and they was number one in the nation at the time. I mean, and it don't get no better than that.
Bro, listen, Penn Hills, listen, there's a different energy. There's a different energy. See, I grew up, my brother was a running back 91, 92, well, 90 through 92, 90 through 92, man. And I remember listening to the bands and going, down at the fence, watching them come out their locker room. And that red and gold did something to me as a baby, man. So, even though I wore the turquoise and black, my big bro was running with that red and gold, man, and that band playing, that fight song, man. That's crazy, man.
Listen, it was real. Everybody heard it. Listen, there's people. I'm gonna cut it off because there's people right now who's probably at Woody High who going through it right now. They probably convulsions all over the city right now. But we're here to give respect, man. Show love, man, to two legends from across the valley, man. Penn Hills, man, where they listen. If you don't know, they got the number one player in the NFL right now. And that's what we talking about. We talking about school full of legends, man. We got none other than Mr. probably built to be a running back himself. He looked like he probably still could tote the rock right now. He was about 1,500 easy.
He was built like that at 12, bro. He was built Baptist Church. He was built.
Go ahead and introduce him, brother Mark.
Man. One of my favorite running backs of all time, man. None other than main man, Ed Collington, man. Give it up for Ed, man. Brother Ed.
Hold on. Here we go. What's up, brother Ed?
What's going on? Ed? What's going on?
Legend. They said you started lifting at 12, brother. The comments is coming in fast, man.
Hey, man.
Listen.
It was all Porter Mort put me on that early. Yeah, y'all had that church, the push-ups, all that.
That's what's up, man. That is what's
Great guy, man. Great guy. Come from his mom is probably, he got a beautiful mom, man. He come from good stock, man. Always been positive dude, man. So, you in the community, you see a younger guy that always got a smile on their face and stuff like that, man. He was built like a truck at 12, man. I ain't lying, bro. So, when I started seeing him run the ball, I used to hear stories about him, man. They like, especially from Aaron Knight and John Knight and them guys, they used to always say, you gotta watch Ed run the fiddle, man, and rest is history, man. So yeah, we're blessed, man.
Listen, it's great to have you on, my brother. We're gonna definitely
thank you.
We're gonna chop it up. We're gonna dig into the story a little bit so you can give some game to some young fellas out there. But listen, without further ado, man, you don't have a football team, man, if you don't have them big boys in the trenches. If your line is weak, if your line is lame, you can't play football here, man. Because listen, I will open up the program 6'5", 300. But not regular 6'5", 300. He picked up a fumble versus North Hills. I want to say a sophomore, maybe a junior. I think he was a senior. And the dancing bear, he was so light on his feet. Man, listen, one of the best to ever do it in the Whitfield, man. If you don't have no linemen, if you had linemen, he probably destroyed them, man.
He destroyed them.
Up close and personal. Big number 65. Big Demond Gibson, what's up, big fella?
Man, what's up, fellas? Man, hey, glad to be here with y'all for real. This is nostalgia is crazy.
Man, listen,
yo, it's
you got
good
a legend.
to have you on, my brother. Listen, like always, man. We here to share stories, but we here to give flowers and show respect. And being that you were definitely a rival, somebody we respect, because a lot of times when you have rivals, people forget. You probably respect them because they probably gonna punch you right back in the face too, man. So
yeah, all day.
I got a lot of respect for him, man, because I see him cause terror. And my brother Melvin just checked in and gonna say, ha, big boy, what's up? Yeah, I went back and watched that game, man. I went back and watched the game and watched what you was doing, big fella. I know, but salute, Big D, man. We really appreciate you coming on with us.
No doubt.
For sure. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah.
So listen, normally we just start off with just a random question, just sports question to kind of get things going out there. Every Thursday, 8 p.m. when the lights go out, check it out, man. We always gonna try to have some special guests on, some people who've been on our journey, who've walked the path that we've walked, who walked the path that younger players want to walk, and always have a story to tell and nuggets of information to give us. So check us out every Wednesday. Make Results Not Excuses on YouTube. Marcus Berkeley Sr. and Delrico Fletcher on Facebook. Shout out to Lafferty. Appreciate you checking in. But listen, right now there's a little bit of a controversy out right now. We're gonna start the show off correctly. How you guys feel about Tim Tebow getting a shot after 9 years of playing ball? Being off from playing ball. He was a quarterback, now he come back as a tight end. Ed, let me know what you think, Ed.
Where at, Ed?
Hey, it's long overdue. I feel like he should have been had a chance. To me, you know what I mean? After he came in the league, did what he did with Denver. I don't see how people can pass him up. He's a winner. You know what I mean? That's what you want to do when you got that level. You want to win. So why not have him on the team?
He did, Corey. Yeah.
Yep. Big D, what you think, D?
I don't know. I think my perspective is a little different, when it comes to Tebow for a few different reasons. One, first of all, it's who you know. So I'm not upset with, the fact that Urban and Urban is giving him a shot, because it's basically who you know, period. Especially when you start talking about the league, it's not always skill set. But, for a person who had an opportunity to make that switch before and was against that, to be 33 years old and be out the league, it's kind of disrespectful to some of these young guys out here now who've been playing tight end for a lifetime and can't get a workout or get a shot. And you get a guy who's coming basically from jumping around, and we're using this guy to sell tickets. He's going from baseball. Like, where's your passion at? And you can't tell me you're passionate about that many things. And there's a young kid who's 22 years old whose dream is to even have a shot and can't have one. So I just think Tebow was a winner. Yeah, he did his thing. He'll forever be at the University of Florida, but after a while, it's time for you to kind of move back and give somebody else the opportunity who hasn't had one yet, because you actually had several opportunities and they didn't work out. So let's pass it on to the next generation.
I agree. I totally agree with him. That's where I'm at with it. You had your opportunity. Your window was there, man. You had opportunity to showcase your talent. You did pretty good. He had a few good games. Especially Pittsburgh Steelers fans can't stand him because of what he did to them, and as far as their playoff run. So I think there's a lot of hate towards him in multiple ways because we here in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh people can't stand him. But the reality of it, like Big D said, is his window's closed, man. You got some young guns out there that's trying to play ball right now, man. Let them boys try to make the team and showcase their talent, man. Sit your Heisman down, man.
And listen, and I think I got a different perspective because I spoke about this in class today.
Okay.
And I try to always spin it and find the good in something where I could teach it to a young person. So what I was telling people in class today was Tim Tebow built a one hell of a bridge. He networked with Urban Meyer to the point where he probably put $50 million in Urban Meyer pocket. You know what I'm saying? So at a certain point, when you network and you build relationships and you build bridges, people feel like they may owe you, man.
Right.
So in the bigger scheme of things, I just tell my people, listen, when we meet in these people, let's build these productive bridges and make them so that we could keep coming back and forth across them. You know what I'm saying? None of us are perfect, but we watching. And, there's people, I've seen it. They'll say white privilege. They say whatever. I want us to dig a little bit deeper and understand that if we build connections and we stand on them sturdy, we can use them and go back and forth and they be productive later in life. Do I agree with it? Definitely not. Of course not. Right. You know what I'm saying? The truth is, like Big D said, man, there's a 20-year-old who has been giving everything day and night. And he's been a tight end since he picked up a football. And now somebody who just went from professional football to Major League Baseball back to professional football at another position gets a shot. But if anybody can do it fair, but this thing ain't never been fair, man. So I tell people this is why the show's called When the Lights Go Out. Because somebody never knows when it's going to end for them.
But they just keep turning heads back on, though.
Yeah, they turning heads back on. Right, too, Big D.
Like he with Duquesne Light, like he got the switch. Like I'm just saying, like at some point when the lights go out, they supposed to stay out, and you supposed to like you can't keep jumping back in and out. I mean, like I said, to your point, I think he did build a bridge, and the person he is a good person. But that's worked out for him. That's why he's on TV. That's why he's selling books. I'm down here in Florida. He comes and speaks down here all the time, and it's packed. There's 40 or 50,000 people at a church, and he's doing 4 or 5 services talking. So those things have correlated for him. Like you said, those parts have correlated. But football, it's disrespectful. Because he's playing tight end. If I'm playing defensive end, he's not blocking me.
Listen,
he got to block you, Big D. I don't know, Big D. Tim Tebow, Big D. Come on, man. You gonna let Tim Tebow block you?
Tim Tebow. Hey, I promise you, if me and Tim Tebow was going, I would bury Tim Tebow. Somebody put that in there so we can do that today. And
well, the thing is, he put a big X on it. He's a target right now. Boys, I've been following a few cats on Twitter and stuff, and seeing some of the things that they saying. Even the boy from the Steelers, what's the linebacker, the young boy, Devin Bush talking cash money. So it's like Lafferty said, and like you said, Fletcher, it's definitely a market. He's marketable. I mean, the dude is going to sell tickets, but I think it's going to he's going to be a big distraction for the team. In my honest opinion, I think he's going to be a distraction, man. But he's also gonna get his lunch took week in and week out. He's gonna get some animals. The game has changed from 9 years ago till now. The defensive end is turning to you got boys running 4-4,
I ain't gonna lie.
70, man.
Hey, Mark, I'm not gonna lie. I've never seen nobody score more 2-yard touchdowns in my life. So, listen, when he get down there by the goal line, better believe they gonna go to them old Florida packages.
Well, I said by week 6 he was gonna be our quarterback. If somebody gets hurt, that's just another way to put him under the center, man. So by week 6, you might see him playing quarterback, man.
Yeah, that's funny. Listen, when the lights go out every Thursday, 8 p.m., we got Penn Hills Legends in the building, man, chopping it up, giving flowers, saying thank you, man, trying to peel back and get some of the nuggets that they've learned along their way, man. We got Ed Collington Jr., man, built to be a running back since he was 5 years old, man. They said he was born to do this, man. And then the legend, Demond Gibson, man. Listen, D was ridiculous on the field. He used to be lined up next to Mike White, D.
Yeah, man.
And I want to ask, because in the beginning of the show, I played the chant. So what did that do for y'all before games, man?
Well, you growing up, man, who didn't want to be like Florida State? We had the whole uniform, the whole look, the whole vibe. And then at the time, all those rivalries, man, just you hear the whole fans and everybody doing it, man. You wanted to make a big play so that you could do the chop. I wanted to get a chop.
Right. Used to be like,
yeah. I mean, the reality though, it was so intimidating. Like being a player and you turn around and everybody synchronized doing that thing. Like, listen, man, as a high school kid, man, I started as a sophomore, so I seen it up close and personal when I was 14 years old. So I'm like, yo, this is real, man. And then I'm 14, but I'm 6'1", but the Big D run past me, number 65, and I'm like, yeah, I think I might want to play basketball, man. I think basketball's in my future, man.
I told you before we came on, I said, you being modest, man, Delrico, man. You was a phenomenal athlete, and running past you only happened in my dreams. Because listen, don't even get it twisted.
No, I ain't saying it like I was running with you, D. I was standing, and you made a block, and like just the win and everything. The 65 went past somebody. I was probably like a $165. So Ed, like when you came out the locker room, man, and they used to play that chant, that fight song, man. Did it do anything similar for you like it did to the fellas back when I was playing against Penn Hills? You might be having a little technical difficulty. What's up, brother Ed? You good?
You getting bad reception.
Hold on. I can't hear you. Hold on. I can't hear you breaking up.
Yeah, I was just asking you about the fight song, about the chant when you heard it, when you came out that tunnel to play on Friday nights at Penn Hills. What did that chant do for you? What the chant from the crowd do for you?
Man.
We lost.
Oh,
I would say like this.
He was like the best answer in the world. They clipped him, man.
Very good. Hey, Big Gib, I remember as a little boy, man, my brother was running the ball for Penn Hills. Him and Otis Duncan, shout out to Otis Duncan and Jermaine Carswell. Well, that backfield was that was a pretty nice backfield, man. They had big Barry Tilch and they had a couple cats, Rich Brooks and
my OG
Russ Anderson, man. So being a little boy, 5th grade, being at the fence, watching them cats come out with that gold pants on, that arrow on the helmet, and that fight song. Dun, 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 dun. Man, listen, I used to go crazy. So, it was. I was a Wolverine at heart, but man, listen, you couldn't tell me nothing about Penn Hills football, man.
Classic times, man.
Yep.
Yes, very classic times. Listen, hey, Big D, we brought on some people who were very close to us who are very close to the Woodland Hills program, and one of them was Coach Denny D'Amico. He was our athletic trainer, our conditioning coach. He was everything. He was the backbone. Like when you were coming up, could you name one or two people who we all know Neil Gordon's and the head coach, but who was some people behind the scenes, man, that everybody on Penn Hills would be like, yeah, that was the person who helped all of us really grow and become the men that we are.
Well, I think there was a few people for sure, but two people I will shout out. And we lost him some years ago. One would be Jim Tight. He was one of those coaches that put his helmet on, do whatever he could do to be part of the team. Matter of fact, our state championship year, we dedicated that year to him. And probably George Poindexter. Mr. Poin he wasn't a coach, but he's a person who had been around the program since the 70s. He was the guy who used his own personal vacation time to come to camp. He's walking around. He had the Snickers. He had the Big Rig.
Right.
Wow. So anything that was Penn Hills, man, was associated with people like that. And of course there were other people, but of course those two people. When you start talking about people who just loved Penn Hills and loved all the guys and could do, Mr. B too. I won't forget Mr. B. He was our equipment guy.
That's what I always hear about, Mr. B.
Big Alabama guy. So the fact that Marcus, you got Alabama,
yeah,
Mr. B about that. So when you start talking about some of those classic people, man, that aren't with us anymore, that kind of solidified, the whole Penn Hills experience, man.
Right.
Not necessarily being on the field themselves, or people even knew who they were because they didn't have on headsets, walking around and coaching positions.
Right.
Being those people that we kind of looked up to, and they made sure they took care of us all the time.
I used to hear all the time. I used to hear the horror stories about Hell Week.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. Explain Hell Week to us, because we had similar Hell Week, but we never labeled it Hell Week. I want to hear about Hell Week, man. What was Hell Week at Penn Hills?
Well, when I was coaching at Penn Hills, Ed and them, they had it soft. I always just tell them that all. They had it soft. But our Hell Week, man, the first week we slept in the gym.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember Dwayne telling me that.
No air conditioning, and we was doing 3 practices a day. For the first
3 days.
3 a day, boy. Hey, listen, you couldn't even get away with that nowadays, man. Listen, they take your coaching papers for 3 days.
You can't coach.
Hey, 3 a day, and then at the end of that, we would practice in the morning, in the afternoon, and do that live night practice, and it was all full gear, all conditioning. Then we would do a scrimmage at the end of the week, and then we would go back again and do 2 a days for the second week. You know what I mean?
Right.
After there, come back out to the scrimmage, and you want to talk about Hell Week because there's no AC. People sleeping on cots, beds, got fans. There's 100 guys in the gym. School food. Guys is frustrated, upset, and it wasn't like nowadays where people get on the gator. We had to walk them hills, man.
Yeah.
Down on the bottom. Yeah. So, you had a 3 a day practice and then have to walk up that hill back in the day. Listen, man, this can't be duplicated.
Listen, man, that's deep.
Nothing, and it's hard to explain. I'm gonna unmute Ed. Hopefully, we got Ed back on. What's up, brother Ed? Give us a quick update. How was your version of updated Hell Week when you were playing?
Back on.
Yeah.
Tell us about Hell Week, Ed. What was Hell Week like for you?
Pretty much the same as his, but my senior year we got lucky because the year before someone had got sick. So my senior year we didn't have to sleep in the gym or nothing like that. So we got lucky. But my first 2 years up there was just like you said. It was hot, no AC. Everybody had fans blowing hot air.
Right.
It just really just set the tone for the season for real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's where you knew, that's where you, you know what I'm saying? You found out who was what and who was going to be where and who was going to play what.
Mm-hmm.
And like they say, the cream rise to the top.
Right.
So, like Hell Week was definitely about the cream rising to the top.
No doubt.
Wow. Listen, it's very similar stories across the way. Like when we were backstage, Big D said iron sharpened iron, and Melvin Cobbs always used to use that saying as well. So we used to do something similar. We started taking trips going away. I think George Novak was more a copycat because y'all were number one in the nation, not Whoopio, not the state. Everybody in the country, all them Florida schools, all the Texas schools, all the Cali schools. Nah, to see the number one team in the nation, you had to travel to Pittsburgh, man. And it only helped the rest of us, man. It only helped schools like Gateway and Woodland Hills and all the teams that you played, McKee Sports. It only helped all of us. I mean, because at that time, though, the year before, McKee Sport was loaded. And
unreal.
Then y'all was unreal the next year, man. So I was like, I'll pray in this my turn, man. Like I hope, because what McKee Sport did that the year before, and then what y'all did was just, it was outrageous. So I'm like, yeah, this Quad East thing, it's real. It's real football. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing but killers. I mean, like D, just give me a quick rundown of some names. Give me 10 names that you remember from either on your team or you played against at that time. Just give me 10 good ones.
Brandon Short.
Woo!
LeVar Arrington.
Woo!
Justin Kirpakis.
Wow, Kirpakis. I seen. Hold that thought right there. I seen Justin Kirpakis.
Who was Zilko? Who did he hit? Zilko?
I thought Zilko was dead, man. I thought Zilko died on the field, man.
I was in the locker room with y'all. I was the ball boy that game. I remember that.
Shout out to Justin, man. Keep going, D. I'm sorry.
Hey, Jermaine Cromartie.
Woo!
Kansas.
Hey, Rozier.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
Raj Wilson.
Roger
Wilson.
Come on now.
Amos Murphy.
Woo!
Wow.
He's going in the bag.
EK, Eric Casper.
Coach. Eric Casper. They might not even know he was a killer.
Oh, he was an animal.
Hey, Brian Godfrey.
Number 5.
Hey, Melvin Cobbs.
The Cannonball. Tom Wynn.
Big Gilbert.
Big Ron.
I could keep going. I didn't even get to some of the other schools, but I'm just saying. Name some of those guys.
Yeah. Woo! You just named one heck of a team, man. Ed, give me some names, Ed. Ed, come on. We comparing eras, Ed. Give me some big names, Ed.
And I ain't even go on my team.
You ain't even say Ron Graham. You ain't even say Mike White.
Wayne, Mike. I ain't even want to.
You ain't even say Wayne.
I didn't even want to bring the Penn Hills boys into it because they already know what it is, and everybody know what that is. I just wanted to shout out some of the other fellas there.
Hey, look, before you do that, shout out to them brothers, Lenny, Black quarterback Lenny, Vic Strader, and Dwayne Thompson. Man, forever I love them brothers, man. Like legends, man. Legends. Hey, Ed, before it was you, Ed.
Yes.
Before it was you, Ed, there was some brothers that was nice, man. But give me some during your era. Give me about 10 players, Ed. Give me a few names.
He on mute.
Oh, hold on. Let me get him off.
Hold on, Ed. Hold on.
No, he ain't on mute.
Justin King.
Woo! Justin King.
He said Sean Lee. Sean Lee, Justin King. Who else?
Sean Lee. Justin King, Eugene Jarvis.
Yeah.
Paul Posluszny.
Woo! That's a Hall of Famer.
Who else? James Cole. You know I'm shouting my boys out on my team. David Harvey.
Yeah, they said
Kenny Lewis was the running back. He was a beast. Another animal from Penn Hills.
Beast.
Yeah.
Listen, and I only did that.
Mm-hmm.
I did that to really for people to get an understanding of like the lineage, man. The bridge that's being built from every school passed on to the next generation, man. And for D to shout out the names that he did and then add, man, it's only because you could look back and pay respect to the people who did it before you, man. And you want to be one of the ones that keep that going, man. So
Right.
I was so hyped, and you two fellas will know, I was so hyped to be selected for the Big 33 game and put on for the Whippeal. Like to put on when I got up there and shout out to Vic Strader because he was from Penn Hills and he went with me. And we was just hyped to put on for the Whippeals. Like, we the best. You know what I'm saying? Nobody better than us. Like, yeah, we all here. But, yeah, we here to show that we play real ball in Pittsburgh, man. That's what we do, man. So, you know, I'm very thankful. I'm very proud. I don't know about you guys. I'm pretty sure you are. I'm very proud to be from where we from. And I let that be known everywhere I go. Like, listen, I'm from the Burgh. I rep the Whippeal, and that's just what it is, man. And just like Big D, I'm gonna shout out some names. I'm gonna let people know, because right now Penn Hills has arguably the best player.
Oh, in NFL,
best player in NFL.
Yep.
I mean, hands down, can't be blocked, unstoppable.
There's no argument there.
No, you can't.
Aaron Donald, how do you feel about him, D?
Well, I had a chance to coach Aaron for 3 years at Penn Hills. So, everybody who knows me or follows my social media or anything, me and Aaron have a great relationship, and I have a lot of love for AD. Mm-hmm. And he gives a lot of love to all of us back. And it's just good to have been a piece of his foundation. And that's not something that I'm saying. That's something that he shots me out with and says, without you, coach, there's different pieces of his game that he felt like he wouldn't have had at the time. So, it's always good to give back. And I think our job is to pay it forward, man. We go out here and, I had a chance to, play college ball and, 7 years in the pro world, man, and you learn a lot of things. And when it was time for me to be done, I wanted to come back and give it a coaching guys and not asking for anything, but being happy with their success and, giving them that little tool or that piece that you had or something that you had that you could have done better. You can pass on to someone else to really help them shine. And I think, Aaron is a great example of that. Of us as older gentlemen, once we get done with our time, it's time to come back and impart to these young men not only the stuff that goes on the field, some of the things that happen in the background that people don't talk about, things part of our experiences, loopholes that they need to get past, not only, like I said, just on the field, but educational wise, and making sure that we empower these young men to be leaders in their generation as well.
Right. Yeah. That's real. That's powerful.
You can't say it any better, man. Like, listen, boy, that's what I tell people, man. We more than just football players, man. We more. That's why this platform is made, man. Because if when the lights go out, because they're going to go out, if you well prepared and if you plan for this, if you started prepping for life after ball while you were playing ball, you so much better off, man. And we've never been just shut up and dribble people. We never been just shut up and play just for somebody else's entertainment. That's not what this is about. This is about really playing ball and using it to really expose who you really are, man, to show that we can help our communities, enlighten our communities, be somebody that the younger people look up to. So listen, we thank you, D. We really appreciate you, man. Like, Aaron appreciates you, but there's so many other people that people don't even know about, that people will never hear from. And on behalf of them, we always gonna give you flowers and say thank you, because watch from afar, D. You know what I'm saying? We watch and we so supportive, man. When our people go off and they repping and you know, you see VAR on Fox and doing stuff like that. It's like, yo, those are our people, man. So, you know,
it seems like a part of you actually. You know, you made it because you were there with them. I mean, especially you two guys. I'm gonna just say with Delrico and Big Gibb, you guys as young bucks, man, we was looking at you. I remember sitting on the sideline like, man, look at these dudes is like gods, man. Like, I remember walking in the line after the game and shaking Big D's hand, like looking up at this dude like he was a god, man. So Delrico, we got to tip our hat off to you, man. Y'all dudes put on a show for us young cats, man. I mean, it's just it kept that rivalry. That rivalry, people don't really understand. If you don't understand football and this rivalry that we talking about, was something serious, man. It's to the point we hated each other. We hated each other so much. That's how strong our love is now. We hated Penn Hills. And Penn Hills hated Willing Hills. I remember going to the mall before the game and seeing, Brandon Heflin and Melvin Kirby and a few cats, Glenn Hood, and I mean, Annie was my family, but listen, it was on. You know what I mean? They used to get off the bus and had them red coats on. Remember them little red jackets they used to wear?
Them Blazers.
So, we hated Penn Hills, man, but you guys, like you said, Aaron.
Y'all had to clean up, D. I used to be like, hey, I know them, man. Why they got on suits now?
They got them. Ed know what I'm talking about. Ed, y'all had them red jackets on, man. Y'all was like Bel Air Prep out there, man.
Yeah, it was. Hey, but it was really all about discipline, man. And the funniest thing is, first of all, we when you start thinking about it, it teaches. When I was going through it, sometimes I'm not like to dress up. I call myself like a big clean dude. So I was okay with cleaning up. It taught us something different. Like on Fridays, you're going to work. Put your suit and tie on. Every job you have, you're not going to be able to wear a T-shirt. It was a different exposure level. I think at the time, a lot of people didn't really, understand what was going on. But, it was a mindset that I think, facilitated, us going to work at the time. You know what I mean? And I think when I was coaching, I said that, like when you was talking about the rivalry, the biggest thing that was different for me when I was coaching was the fact that I was coaching the Penn Hills game at night. I've never played Willing Hills at night. It's always been
daytime.
We played high noon.
High noon on the Saturday because they're
Saturday, boy. We don't want no trouble.
Nobody on the Friday night. I've never seen the Wolverine at night until I started coaching. I'm telling you.
That's fact. That's fact.
Listen, it wasn't stupid about who Penn Hills and McKeesport cannot come to Turtle Creek on Friday nights. It's not allowed, man.
No, sir.
Not allowed, man. Always Saturday, high noon. Hopefully the whole hood is still asleep.
Hey, and it was always homecoming, so you had to play the game in the morning and then try to suit up.
That's facts. That is facts.
The bad part is, as a Penn Hills guy, 2 of those times the homecoming didn't work out so well for us because we lost.
Hey, I won my senior year too. I remember when
he said that Neil Gordon made the worst call in Penn Hills history. Derek Johnson, he single-handedly was running over our whole team by himself. And he called a play action on the goal line, man. This was the worst call. They could have ran.
We should stop now because now I'm hurt. And you just opened up a wound, man. I can't believe you pulled that knife out and I'll never forget it. And if you don't mind, I will go through it for you by detail.
Hold on. Let me give you a solo layout.
Listen, I remember it like it was yesterday. When we started the drive, there was 1 minute and 26 seconds left on the clock, and we had to go 80. And I believe we were down by 5 or 6.
Right.
And Neil called double dive at 2. And when we got in the huddle, we decided we was going to go double dive 2 and 3 between me and Mike. Mike was on the left side. I was on the right side. I was the 2 hole. He was the 3. So we alternated it. We never huddled up again. and we went all the way down that field, and it was 1st and goal with 26 seconds left on the clock, and Derek was getting 8 to 10 yards a pop.
Every time.
Then we ran the 2 dive and 3 dive every time, and Derek is one of the best athletes I've ever been around in my life. So
he was huge.
Yeah, let's just solidify that. But then we get down to it's 1st and goal, 26 seconds left. We have 1 timeout left. Willie Hills has not stopped us yet. We are lined up to run it in and to score to win the game. And, he my guy, Coach G, he my dude. We straight. But he called a timeout and called a pass. And if I'm not mistaken, it was either you or Marquess Rainey who intercepted
Marquess, right to Marquess.
Marquess Rainey, and we lost the game and missed the playoffs my junior year, and they had to get security to get Wolverine. Because I think everybody's dad pretty much wanted to take him out that day, and he knew it too because he was quiet, and we really. That one hurt, man. That one hurt.
Shout out to Marquess Rainey, man. Shout out to Quest.
Shout out to Marquess.
Yo, as a defensive back, Big D, you want to know how happy I was to see Hood stick that ball out and pull it back and start it out? I was like, oh, they didn't hand it off. We got a chance, man.
Well, it was actually Lenny. It was Lenny. And Lenny
was Lenny.
He was a true freshman, and G. Hood had got a concussion that game.
Yeah, because Hood got a concussion, yeah.
He got a concussion, and I mean, it wasn't Lenny's fault. Like, Lenny was doing a great job. We run the football. Why call a timeout? He called a tight end, and he trotted in with them biker coaching shorts they used to have back in the
day. Them Coach Panions, them Coach Panions.
Them bike joints, man. And it was one round. Yeah, it wasn't like all floods. It was one round. Come on, man.
Yes, legendary.
Hey,
legendary stuff, man.
And then he tried to throw it out of bounds, but Marquess was an athlete. He went and got that thing. He was like Jordan. He went in the air, bro.
He was an athlete, man. Quest was an athlete, man.
Yeah.
Sorry to this day. Sorry.
Hey,
shout out to Quest.
But Nose had a bad game against Penn Hills too, a bad call. Remember he kicked it to Larry Jackson. I see Samson wrote that.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I'm in the end zone. My dad, we walking out. My dad said, "Well, that's the game. Unless they kick to Larry." I'll never forget that because my brother was a sophomore at the time, and they said, "Don't kick it to Larry." I'm thinking they're gonna squib it. They kick it to Larry.
Gone.
Listen, the Wolverine, they was ready to whoop Georgia's ass.
Hey, and do you know every Penn Hills game ever, before we would go out or leave to come to the Wolverine, they would play that play for us to see.
Wow. See, that's the stuff that people need to hear, man.
Yeah.
People need to hear, man.
Every time Larry Jackson, man. Him and
Larry, man.
Him and Adam Martin, man. That was my two OGs right there.
Adam Martin. I remember Adam.
Those are real nuggets, man. Real nuggets. Listen, Ed, we bringing you in on this conversation. When you played in the Whitfield, and I went back and I was doing some real homework, brother, and I'm really impressed. Like I said, behind the scenes, I played against Dwayne Thompson and Vic Strader, and I love the way they played the game. You know what I'm saying? Like small, tough, quick, great feet, all of that. But then I pop somebody in like you on the screen. And what you could do was just amazing. Like there wasn't many people at that time on your level. Mm-mm. Can you give us a sense of like who at the time when you played in the Whitfield, who did you say like, I respect him? That's a player that's really good that I go up against that I got to prepare for and be at my best against.
For sure, Greg Webster was definitely Greg Webster and DeRon.
DeRon. I knew
them two boys used to, yeah, man. That my senior year they played middle linebacker.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Rest in peace, DeRon, man.
R.I.P. DeRon, man. But that was my boy. But on that field, we hated each other. Like Mark said, we talked so much trash to each other, man. And it was just good to, be able to compete like that against, I mean, friends and family, like people you grew up with, like, so it made it more, you know what I mean, intense.
It was unreal.
Valuable when you won. So, you know, like, but for sure, G Wed, man, me and him used to go at it. We went at it every play. Every single play we was talking to each other across the line.
That's crazy because Greg, and shout out to Greg Webster, man. Greg, if Greg doesn't, you know, he has some unfortunate, you know, illness and stuff with a, you know, disease, man. Greg went on. I think he went to Pitt. If Greg don't get sick, man, you never know what could have happened to him, man.
He would have been one of the best to ever do it to me.
And Deron was right next to him.
Yeah, both of them is very. And listen, this is part of the reason why this platform is created as well, man. Like, as hard as we work, we got to be very lucky, man.
Yeah.
You got to be thankful for every bit of this journey that you have taken, even the bumps and the bruises, man. Because we all can sit here and name 10 to 15 other people who grew up around us who were amazing, who were absolutely amazing, man. So this platform is not only for myself and Marcus to bring people on to share stories and give flowers, but it's to also be thankful for the journey we've been on, man, because we've lost a lot of people, man, for one reason or another. Like you said what you said, and always DJ Dutrail pops in my mind because growing up, he was one of the baddest MFers to ever touch a football field. I mean, he was ridiculous. And just some of those people. And it's not even always sports. I mean, it's not always football. It's other sports as well. But we got, so I think we got to be so thankful and so lucky, man.
And you know what I tell people, Delrico, all the time, man? The number one saying, and when I was coaching, I said it, and it rang more true. Usually the game is done with you before you're done with it. And if you have an opportunity to play for, you know, a lifetime or a day or a year, you just got to be thankful for those moments, man. And that's what I get from these type of platforms and talking to you guys now. Like I said, the nostalgia, just being thankful, like you said, to have been one of the ones who was able to, you know, continue to play and kind of rep our city too a little bit. You know?
Right. And I know Mark. We do a lot of talking. I probably call Mark more than Mark want to be called, man.
Man.
Because I really value Mark's opinion. A little side note here, fellas. And we're gonna get right back on track. But I want to send a shout out to my mom.
Yeah, for sure.
My mom's had a pretty rough week since Mother's Day, and we found out some good news last night. So shout out to Jolene, Mama Joe. She's a fighter. She spent Mother's Day in the hospital. But she's
shout out
back.
to your mom, for real.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. And I wanted to just thank Mark because Mark's somebody who I call and lean on. Mark's been through a lot himself, and I value his opinion. I think that's why we came together to create this platform, because I think we really look at each other like brothers. So I want to just thank Mark for just being there when the brother really needed, because a lot of times we don't have as men, you know, and I do a lot of therapy and counseling myself, and sometimes there's nobody there for you when you need it. So I reached out to a brother, and I just want to say live on air, man, that I really appreciate it, man. Thanks, Mel. I appreciate it, man.
All right. Hey,
you know, my mom, you know,
know.
Everybody around the way know my mom, D and Ed. You know what I'm saying? My mom used to be an AAU basketball coach. She was the one who put the sports in me. Like, she was a great baseball player, great basketball player. So, you know, shout out to my mom, because I really appreciate her and I love her. And she's a fighter, so I just want to say thanks. And
she's rumbling, man. She was on Facebook earlier today, man, with her tubes in.
Yeah, with her tubes in, D. She got tubes on
Yeah, she gave you that fight.
Listen, bro. Yeah, she's one of them type of people. I'm gonna tell you like this. Now, I'll leave like this. She's one of those people. When you walk past her, you gotta make sure you standing straight up, like and you gotta have your chest sticking out because he might call you out. Like, you know what I mean? And if you have a bad game, she's gonna let you know you had a bad game. So, you know what I mean? I love Miss JoJo.
Hey D, I used to listen. I had a bad game my junior year versus Penn Hills. I played on 2 very bad ankles that game, and I never forget Coach coming to me after the game like, "Yeah, I don't think you should have played this game. I told you that before the game." But when I got home, my mom is the first one. Oh, you look terrible. That was awful. What was that?
Yeah.
But it was real. It was authentic because she was going to be there on the good days and the bad, man. So shout out to everybody's mom. You know what I'm saying? Last week was Mother's Day, and shout out to everybody's mom, man, because a lot of us got a lot of women in our lives who are the backbone and who don't get a lot of credit, man. So shout out to my mom, man. Hey, there she goes. She checking in. She checking in. Look.
There she go. Hey, mama.
Yo, listen. On another note, I wanted to ask you, and I'll start with you, Ed. What did ball mean to you? What did football really mean to you? Like, just straight to the point. We all went there on this journey of football. What did it mean to you?
Man, football was everything to me, man. Like, you know, growing up and
You having a problem?
I mean, it meant everything, you know, like you said, growing up in a single parent home, didn't really have no outlet for my frustration. So like football was that for me. You know what I mean? It was a way for me to express myself without getting in trouble or doing something I ain't supposed to be doing. So I put everything into it. Like football was my life. Football is life. Ball is life. You know what they say? Ball is life.
Yeah.
That's what it was for me.
Right. No doubt. And let me ask you this question, Ed. You know, if you could go back and talk to, let's say, an 18-year-old Ed Collington, what would you tell that Ed Collington? What would be some of the, you know, what would the conversation be like with the 18-year-old Ed Collington?
They said that Penn Hills reception D is awful, man.
Leave them girls alone, Ed.
Leave them girls alone, Ed. Straight to the point.
Man, I would tell myself to leave them girls alone.
Abby telling himself to get that AOL.
Yeah, he got dial up.
He got that dial up cracking.
Yeah, he got that dial. Hey, D. Hey,
Yeah.
D. Same question to you, D. What did ball mean, man? What did it really mean to you?
I think at the time growing up, it symbolized more like people like Ed said, it was everything, and I think that's a lot for all of us. But it was an identity too, and you know, it took a lot of years, you know, for me to not identify myself as Demond the football player, you know. But you know, at the time, it was an identity. That's who I felt like. That's who I was. That was the makeup. And I felt like it was natural. It was like something that, you know, I felt like that one of the many attributes that God had given me to be able to do at a high level. So I think it was an identity, and I kind of embraced the identity of it, and you know what things I could do out on that field, and you know I kind of live for, you know, those rivalries, those one-on-one matchups, those competitive things that, you know, kind of fed us to, you know, push us to the level that we're able to go to.
Mark, we ask a lot of questions, Mark, to everybody else. I would like to get that answer from you, Mark. Like, what did ball really mean to you?
Ball was everything, man. Ball raised me, man. Ball was my it was daycare to me, man. I learned so much from so many people. I watched you guys. I could sit here and name probably 100 people, man. From a key sport and from Penn Hills. So it's just ball meant everything. I put I always tell you, Fletch, I put all my eggs in one basket, man. I worked so hard. I was undersized. I wasn't the fastest, but you couldn't tell me I was going to give you the blues on game day. So it was just everything, man. I woke up, I ate, I slept football, and that was just it, man. I wanted to put on a show for not for only for my community, but we talking about moms. My mom was my gasoline, bro. So that was just everything, man. Football was life for me, man.
So let me ask you this, D. Were you prepared? Being that the show's called When the Lights Go Out, were you prepared for when the lights were getting ready to go out? When they go out, I know you made the statement saying, ball usually leaves us before we leave it. Right. So that transition, how was that transition from all right, the lights is out to how do I turn these lights back on somewhere else?
Right, and that's a great question. I seen somebody kind of ask that similar question. The transition, from the identity. You always think that you're ready, and school wise, I had went to the University of Pittsburgh and was able to get my degree and things of that nature. So I had that, but I think when you're playing, and when I got a chance to play on some pretty high levels, right, and once going with the Saints first, and then going up to the CFL for a couple years, and then playing some arena football and winning some arena championships, things of that nature. When it was time for the game to be over, I think I had just because I had been through so many transitions with it, and the business side of it that you don't really get a chance to talk about, I was done with that side of it.
Right.
The transition from knowing that you're worth more, or you have more value to things than being identified as, hey, that's Demond, he played for, that's Demond, he played for, or this is Demond, he played for this. Understanding that the purpose that we have is a lot greater than that. And so when the lights went out, it wasn't an easy transition, but it was a humbling transition that, being Demond, just Demond was okay. And understanding what that meant. Now, so some of the same things, attributes that we brought to the game, the work ethic, the passion, those things travel with you, but understanding how to correlate those into corporate America or into other things or into other people.
Right.
What I had to find out was I can still have the same impact that I had on the field when people talk about the plays or the tackles with another person or with young men who needed some direction, or someone who would look up to me because I did play that sport and listen to me more than they would their own mom and dad, even though my message is the same. So I think none of us are 100% prepared, because I know when I was done playing professional sports, the transition from me was coming back to the regular life where not so catered to, or all those people who wanted to identify with you because of who you were and what your name was and who you played for. When that's gone, understanding who you actually are as a person. And it took a few years for me to figure that out. And I think a lot of guys say, I'm ready. I'm 100% ready. But it takes a maturation process in yourself, not only physically, but mentally too, to understand that, some of those same intangibles that you brought on the field, you can apply those same things to real life. And once I found my passion to really be able to inspire people, to help people, to share my story, I think it became an easier transition. And then you start understanding that, man, like some of these leadership qualities that I used on the field with my team are the same leadership qualities that they look for in corporate America. Mm-hmm. So when I sit back as a manager now and I'm working for NBC Sports, I am doing the same things that I did on the field. And it's the same motivation. It's the same thing that you use to inspire people or a team or drive people to be great. The same thing that we did with ourselves, you can put that into other people. So in short, no, I wasn't exactly ready, but I think everybody has to give themselves a chance to find their passion and who they are once they do take that helmet off, because you are 100% identified with the costume that you have on, and we really haven't taken time to develop who we are mentally as men.
Listen, 100. If you ain't sitting down and you ain't fooled right now, I don't know what the problem is, man. You got a whole bunch of game giving right there, man. Like, we appreciate that 100%, and it needs to be said. It needs to be heard. Like, this is real jewels dropped on you every Thursday, 8 p.m. when the lights go out. We got Penn Hills Legends, man. Legends on the screen, man. Ed Collington Jr. We got Big D Gibson, Big Demond Gibson out here, man. I feel like I'm about to get tackled or something right now over the street. Nah, man, listen. Obviously, it's funny sometimes when the big fellas or just not just big bears and want to rip you apart. Like, behind the scenes, and I'm pretty sure D will be all right with this. I said, what was your song that you listened to, brother, to get you hype? He said, I listen to R&B, the calm before the storm, man. Like, yeah, I get it, man. Yeah. It makes all the sense in the world. And he said,
can't ride the bulls in the shoes, baby. Everybody's in the locker room, and I'm playing nose tackle, man. I'm battling 350 pound people, double and triple teams. I don't got time to waste jumping around the locker room, hitting my head off the wall. I need to be able to still dominate you in the fourth quarter, just like I did in the first quarter. And if I'm jumping around too, now when the game over, we're gonna turn up. But before, let me think, get my mind right.
So who was you listening to?
Man, the funniest thing, Hey, number one song though, that Phil Collins, man.
Here in the night, I told you, Fletch.
Yeah, you said it. You said it, Mark. Every week this is week number 6. Out of the 6 weeks, 5 people said Phil Collins.
Yo, I play that song in tears. I'll be in tears playing that song, man.
Because it's about visualization, man. And most of these, like, you got young people watching now, they should take time to sit in their room or sit in the bathroom, put your phone down, and visualize yourself making the plays in the game. And I promise you, it's going to happen and come up. And when it comes up, the game will slow down for you right at that point. And that's when you can make that legendary play that people will talk about forever because you've seen it before it happened.
And on top of that, just like Big D said a few minutes ago, take that same thing into the work world, into your real life, into your personal life. Sometimes you got to remove all these objects to really spend some time with yourself, man. And then all the things you thinking, all those thoughts, like you're going to manifest them. Like, and I wish that when I was younger, you know, I met a guy in college, and if anybody went to Rutgers, and shout out to Mark Charlie, he actually helped the Northwestern team when they switched. They was 0-11 and then went to the Rose Bowl the next year. He was actually a consultant for the team, so we used him at Rutgers like it was going to help us, which was laughable. This is laughable. But we talked about visualizing. We talked about seeing it before it happened, and we can take that into your real life, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes we just didn't. We couldn't realize and visualize at Rutgers because we didn't have the people that had the right vision to visualize. We didn't.
I love playing Rutgers, Mark.
See what I'm saying?
Hey, listen,
Hey, just real quick for my Pitt brothers, and I got to do it since you got that. But listen, I played D tackle at Pitt. I had 2 interceptions in my college career. One was a pick 6, and they was both against Rutgers. I love Rutgers. Hey, I love when we play Rutgers.
He had a pick 6 against your foot.
Hey,
yo, don't make me do it. Don't make me do it to him. Every week I gotta do it. I know it was trash. Hey, Big D, I know.
Hey, I got no room to talk.
It was a slogan that they used that got me hooked because I shouldn't have been there. But they used absolute loyalty. Melvin Cobbs know the slogan. He the reason why I went there.
That's why they the helmet, because they change them every year.
Yeah, this is the old helmet, man. This is definitely not what they wear now, man. Because we took a lot of lumps in these helmets, man.
But that's big that you spoke up on visualization, man. Because you know, Coach D was on our show a couple weeks ago, and one thing that Coach D used to do every Friday, Coach D used to have us up in the wrestling room, Fletch, and he would have us lay down on the mat, close our eyes. You can't hear nothing, no distractions, and he would say those words: visualize making that big play. Yep. And that's key, man. You got to visualize it, man. And you know, shout out to Coach D, man. You keep coming up week in and week out, man. So shout out to Coach D'Amico, man.
Yes. Yeah. And listen, we could go on and on and on and on, man. But we're gonna have to charge people at a certain point because D giving real game.
He's
you know
dropping rules, man.
Real out here. Brother Ed is having a little bit of technical difficulties, but that's all right. Every Thursday, 8 p.m. when the lights go out. We got the co-host Marcus Berkeley. We got Penn Hills Legends in the building, talking Ed Collington Jr., Demond Gibson. Listen, y'all brothers have been amazing. I want to hear from Ed one more time before we actually go ahead and wrap it up, man. I wish your connection was a little bit better.
Get a hanger and some aluminum foil, Ed. A hanger and some aluminum foil, man.
And you know the joke's gonna be all night from Woody High. You know the joke's coming.
I love him to death, man.
But listen, Ed, if there's some young people out there listening, Ed, I want you to I just want you to give them some game, man. You had a journey that came with some ups and some downs, and obviously you're here on the screen with us, so you're solid enough to fix the things that happened in the past and stand on it and go through it as a man. Just give some young people some game, man, that they can hold on to, man, because more than anything, you know, your career, your stats and all that is great, man. But what you give back to young people is going to be what lasts forever, man. So if you had an opportunity with a gang of young people in front of you, man, just give them some game, man.
Man, the best thing I could tell anybody coming up in this game, man, is just stay true to you, man. Like, because especially like when you go away to college, you're gonna meet a lot of different people. You're gonna run into a lot of different personalities, and you know, like being young like that and away from home and that early, like, and not really knowing like what's going on, you could be very easily manipulated. You know what I mean, by the things that go on around you. So the most important thing to me is just to stay true to yourself, man. Like don't ever forget where you come from, and you know. Just be you. Just be the best you could be.
It don't get no better than that.
Can I add something to that, man?
Yes. Hold on, man. Don't ask me if you can ask.
I'm speaking. I know Ed, so I've been around Ed since he's a little boy, man. But let me speak on this. Ed, for the people that don't know Ed comes, his mom, he was in church every Sunday, man. I you know, that's where I met Ed. My house was right across the street from the church that Ed attended. So when Sunday school was over, Ed was outside on my hoop. We was hooping and talking and stuff like that. And I knew from a youngster that he had potential. So when Ed went to West Virginia, man, he made a mistake and he paid for it. And a lot of times where we find a lot of us athletes, like I said, I put all my eggs in one basket. Ed put all his eggs in one basket. So that transition from when the lights go out from in Ed's position, you know, a lot of times we go into, you know, football players, we go into deep depression, man. And you know, in a few years it took, you know, and I'm not speaking for Ed, but Ed will tell you it takes a while to bounce back, man. You know, you go through a whole lot of ups and downs, but adversity, that you coming down from that high, man, of being on such a high level, man, and having to come home and have to hear the music and people like, oh, what happened to you? What you do? It's a hard pill to swallow. Am I right, Ed? Let the antenna
Right.
kick in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know, man.
Well, you know, I was a big Ed fan. I got a chance to be on, and I just want to shout Ed out. Flyers. You know, I was on the coaching staff with Ed, and the dude was phenomenal, man. Like, first of all, he was a walking touchdown.
Yep.
And with him and Ken Lou, man, it was just a ridiculous backfield. But Ed couldn't be stopped. He couldn't be tackled. He could outrun you. He could run a sweep, and he could run inside, and he was powerful. And he can play hurt, because I do remember him having a hurt shoulder and them strapping that thing on him every week, and he's still running. His only mistake that he made was taking his ass to West Virginia. That was the problem. He shouldn't have went there.
Should have went to Pitt, huh?
Should have went to Pitt.
Hold on. Same thing with me though, Ed. Not a question about it. There's no way I should have ever left Pittsburgh. There's no Walt Harris lived in my house. He was at my house when he took the job after
Johnny Majors.
That was that little bit of gap time that allowed Rutgers. That little bit of gap time is what got me to Rutgers, because after that, Walt Harris, he lived in my house. And this when I moved to Braddock, he lived in my house. I thought he lived in the hood for real. He was at my house all the time. I said, yo, this gotta be illegal, man. He ain't coming to the school, he coming to my house, man.
Hey, Big Ed, we had a conversation last night, me and Fletch, man. And I said, Fletch, you realize if you'd have went to Pitt and played defensive back, you wouldn't have played your junior and senior year. He'd have went to the NFL. He's probably one of the best defensive backs that I've ever seen. 6'2", 6'3", 200 pounds. Come on, man.
He could play. It'd have been out there with Poteet, man.
Crazy, man. But like Ed said, some great things, man. Just definitely be the best you can. I purposely also, we know football players and athletes go through a whole lot, and sometimes because of this big persona we have, we tend to hold things back, try to deal with things on our own. So that's why I purposely took a second to shout Mark out for just being there for me in a time where I really needed it. And my pride's not in a way where I can't reach out. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us, man, if you're going through something, man, find somebody you trust and talk to them, man. Reach out to them. Like I always tell people, I have a company, Infinite Mind and Body. You more than welcome to reach out, man. Do mentoring, counseling, and life coaching. Reach out to somebody, man. We've been through a whole bunch of stuff, man. So you don't have to deal with it all on your own, man. So just reach out to somebody, because more than likely they've been through it. They know what you're going through, and they probably could give you some good advice. Before we wrap up, D, I got a room full of 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds, man. Give them something to go home with, man.
I think number one, know your value, know what you're worth, and know that you're worth more than just what you play. Get your education, because that is going to be a tool for you. Just because, like I said before, you never know when it's over. Try to learn something. Listen, because you don't know everything, and there are so many things that you can learn just by sitting and listening to someone who's been through it. And like I always say, information is free. Take it in, see what you can use from what someone's given to you. And if you don't need it, you don't need it. But you can always take those pieces and apply those to your life. Understand that you are way more valuable as a person, as a human being to this world than just the sport that you play. And don't wrap your whole identity in just that sport. Like, yeah, of course, to be successful, sometimes you have to eat, breathe it. I get that, but understand, at the end of the day, you're not going to run around or be on those fields or on that court for your whole life. So, who do you want to be? What type of character do you have? What type of man or woman are you going to become? Are you going to become someone who is able to impart some wisdom and some good things into other people? So, just value yourself 100%, get your education, some type of education, because that is key. And in today's world, without having something, it's going to hinder you from being able to be in a position to help yourself. And it'll make you make choices that you might not really need to make or want to make because you didn't prepare yourself with that education. Education is key.
Powerful, brother. Powerful, man.
Yo, D.
Blessed, man.
I'm saying it for myself. I know Mark feel the same way, man. It's been a blessing. I'm thankful. I knew when I made this call, man, I said, man, I hope he's not busy, because I think that's the only reason why he would give me a no, man, because the brother, every time I've ever had a conversation with Big D, man, it's been enlightening. I've always come away like, man, that's a good brother, man. I mean, 65 will rip your helmet off. That's a good brother, man. So, listen, from the bottom of my heart, man, from one of the rivals, man, you see it in the back of Mark's screen, man. Forever, we're gonna be forever that turquoise, black, and white, man. But we got so much respect for that red and gold, man. Like, you have no idea, man. Like the times a lot of Woody High guys have stayed up wondering about this game on a Friday or Saturday with you guys, man. But to see that where we're at as grown men and what you're doing, man, we thankful. We thankful to know you. We thankful to have this conversation. We've been blessed. We've been enlightened, man. So, Mark, go ahead, give him a little bit of flowers, man. Thank you, D. We appreciate you, brother.
Everything, man. We appreciate you, Big D, and shout out to all the Penn Hills Indians that came before Big D and followed after him, man. We appreciate y'all because y'all pushed this just as well as we pushed y'all guys, man. We love y'all. We can say that now because we old men, but we love you guys, man. And the love is always there, but the hate is still there.
Woody High, stay out of Penn Hills school. Stay away from all them girls in Penn Hills, man. Stay far away.
Stay away from the
we still had the best Kennywood picnic.
Hands down. Hands down. You might get beat up, but it was going to be a great match. You might get thrown over something, but God, you was going to have a great time.
Yo, we love you, Big D. We love you, man.
I appreciate you fellas too, man. I love you guys back.
Man.
I just want to say I appreciate you guys reaching out to me, man, and this is excellent. Anytime you want me to come on again, I'm there, man. As soon as I seen them hit me up, man, I cleared everything. Like, I got to be there. It's love, bro, for real.
My God, man, I really appreciate it. Listen, every Thursday, 8 p.m., this one still, I've had chills. People don't know, man. Soon as Big D showed up on the screen, I got the chills like if we was back in that old Quad East, man. Like, I got the chills, man. So, listen. It's okay, man. Next time, get on a laptop or a computer, man, and stay off of them Penn Hills phones. Them crickets in Penn Hills don't work.
And we gonna reach out back to you, Ed. We know you had some trouble, man.
We're gonna reach back out.
We're proud of you.
We're gonna have a show with a few running backs on there, man.
Yeah.
D, we appreciate you every Thursday when the lights go out, 8 p.m. Delrico Fletcher, Marcus Berkeley Sr. on Facebook. Make Results Not Excuses on YouTube. Chocolate Crown Podcast, Infinite Minded Body. Check out one of them, man. Comment, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend. Our cash apps is at the bottom.
Subscribe.
Yes, when you hit that YouTube, subscribe. But again, Big D, man, thank you, man. We appreciate. Shout out to Penn Hills, man. Shout out to the second best school in the burg. Now we love y'all. See y'all next Thursday.